Geo fits in on their strategies on this map.
And it's going to be Maki starting out on the defense, banning first. EG will get the 2 consecutive bans, 1 attack, 1 defense, and they'll start out on the attack on Oregon. That'll be interesting for them as they are a team that likes to get on a roll and they really do play that momentum game. The biggest thing for them is when they start out on defense, they usually drop either the first round or both the first 2 rounds.
Well, they're such a counter-strat team. You kind of need to have something to counter-strat, right?
Yep, they take a little bit to warm up, and that's what I mean when I say they flourish in a best of 3. The deeper you go into a series with EG, the more they learn about you.
It's like some kind of an AI computer thing. It's just slowly learning too much about you.
That's Troy for you.
That's Troy, the computer.
Exactly.
Well, so, Lion ban, not unexpected here, though, to start out with. But now it's EG's turn, so this should be... I mean, we have seen them do some interesting bans during the Pro League season that have kind of been a little perplexing. Not sure if they're going to go back with more standard kind of ones.
Well, they're taking their sweet time. Don't know if everyone's paying attention. They're going to ban out the Ying. So the
no surprise against Hungary, yeah.
Yeah, the target ban onto Hungary. We saw him do some work with the 6-12 on Oregon yesterday against C9. They're going to ban out the defender. Now, they were using Clash. I only got to see about the back half of Consulate map number 3 against C9 and BYOC when I was walking around, and Young was on Clash on multiple defensive sides.
Such a shield player.
He's such a shield player.
He can't help himself.
So I don't know if they're actually going to ban out Clash. That's up to Mach to decide as well.
No, they're not.
Take out Mute. That's a fascinating one.
That's all about that lobby hatch, right?
I was going to say, they definitely watched the game against C9 then, did some VOD review, knowing that this was a possibility to go up against, and that was the big thing yesterday, is they banned out Thatcher, Maka did, and they took the Mute and played it on the main hatch. The Mira ban gonna round things out. So both new operators in Grimsky going to be available.
Well, like you said, if Young was playing it earlier, I could see him playing it on this map as well. Could be interesting. We saw some really good play from Laxing previously from Cloud9 on this map, and I think it was impressive. Fox as well, but I would say I would highlight Laxing's use more than Fox's. In this case, though, they are gonna start in Laundry, not a surprise there. They're gonna have the Echo because it didn't get banned. So that's going to be a big part of their stall out. Of course, Smoke should be coming out, but isn't at the moment. There's that Clash pick, but Hungry, of course, now being on the other side here, can't play Ying yet. Obviously, he's not on attack, but he's actually going to switch over to Echo. Nope, there we go. He wanted to sneak it in. There we go.
That's what we saw yesterday. It was Hungry monopolizing the Clash play as far as Maka goes. He wasn't really sharing that role with anyone.
No, he likes to do what he likes to do. He's known for ops because he just will be very reliable on them, though.
He actually got a few kills with that machine pistol on Clash as well yesterday, so clearly capable of working in a 1v1 situation. I talked about the isolation of Clash yesterday as well. Just the importance of being able to isolate her in a 1v1, because she is less effective in a 1v1. She's not totally useless, but you have to be able to be in a position where you can back off and go for a full weapon swap. Because you have that shield out. Someone eventually will close the gap on you. Your stun's going to run down. You're not doing enough damage to actually do anything.
No, it's a team-oriented thing, really. You need those teammates, or it's just only so effective. I mean, the quick switching to your gun is pretty effective if you have the right timing, but yeah, that's risky. Especially, speaking of risky, the fact that they're playing without a Mira, which they can't play, but without an Echo or a Smoke, is going to leave them in a tough spot, and this defense is really going to rely on Hungry to stay alive long enough to delay the plant, unless they're just hoping to frag out, because they don't have really any delay operators outside of that. It's all kind of utility and roam operators.
And they've invested quite heavily into this meeting hold, and a lot of roaming potential on the board for them. You've got 4 potential roamers, technically 5. You want to go for Hungry on the roam as well, and it's what he's doing, supporting the meeting hold. I imagine you're probably going to stick Revin downstairs, maybe if he throws a couple goo mines topside and heads back down, maybe panics as well. He should
play sight, I would think. But no, he's actually just going to help out Clash for the moment. But he's probably set up to rotate back if he needs to. In this case, they could be playing with a little more of a flexible roam to be able to support the Clash, as well as to be able to rotate back the site as needed. But yeah, they don't really have much to stop a lobby push, but it doesn't look like they're actually focused on lobby at the moment too much.
No, Indian outside of T1 window on the backside. NVK lighting up the top armory stairs floor to look down the main stairs. Young immediately hopping in bottom white window. So the collapse from EG going for west-east, just taking a little bit of time to set up in the previous. DC ripping open the classroom walls to afford more angles down once they can open up the hatch. Young playing the Hibana and the Mute being jammed out. I mean, he's really not going to have anything to worry about when it comes to getting those hatches open, at least when attacking downstairs.
It's interesting to see, too, that they have sectioned off Kitchen and decided not to defend it at all. They want to focus more on Meeting Hall, even dedicating the Bandit batteries to that wall to make sure that they can't open it. So again, this is looking like they're going to have to try and fight through this Clash, or just ignore it. It might be a case where they just say, you know what, not worth dealing with right now. But actually, no, they took out the batteries, and they're just going to open that wall thanks to bringing the Thatcher on NVK, which is always a weird choice to me. He's such a frag player, and Thatcher is not necessarily a frag operator, but they're getting good progress here.
Wow, MVK looking down the hash, going to take down enemy. That's the Bandit. Not the biggest loss unless he had a Nitro stuff for that plant delay. And Hungry's going to drop through the box hatch to head downstairs. Revan is already evacuated. So the peel back from Maka, we saw this on console, but Canadian going to pick up another frag onto Panics. It's a 2-man advantage now for Evil Geniuses as they press even deeper in. Sir Boss thinking about going for a late flank back up through meeting in the tower stairs. He has to worry about the hold from Pantry Wall. A few kill holes in the wall as well, but Geo holding the smoke, waiting for the call. He's being slowed down by the clash momentarily, but she'll back off. Smoke's detonating. He's got the perfect purview to walk in, looking through the smoke. And BC's actually the one to take down Hungry with an assist from Geo. Young has been down in the process by a goo mine on the main stairs, and Geo's pressed all the way up against the closet wall. Revan gonna go for a rotate, but has to stick the reload inside of Laundry. For in the meantime, turns the corner, drops Geo, and escapes to safety in the back of Laundry. Still a 2-man advantage, now only a 1 as Sir Boss takes down MVK in the back. 20 seconds remaining.
This is really turned around here for them, but BC and Canadian shut it down quick. They were just sick of playing around at that point. As we like to say, toying with their food. Not going to happen at that point. It was such a good start, though. They almost went for what looked like it was going to be a flawless round, despite some damage being taken. But in the end, they did manage to close it out. They got some pretty good map control pretty fast, despite what was trying to be shut out, because they weren't trying to play for that kitchen control or anything like that. They were way more reliant on holding in the actual meeting hall itself. And because of that, they were kind of actually forced into a tight spot. And, well, I'd say EG took advantage of that. Well played on there, but technical pause coming out.
Yeah, we're gonna take a tech break. Something wrong. I don't know where or what side of the board it's on, but we've got an issue with someone's computer. So 1 round in, and Mocket kind of get a tech break here to kind of reassess what went wrong there. I think the peel back was pretty on par with what we saw yesterday. You know, they're investing heavily with the reinforcements, the utility, like you pointed out, with the Bandit batteries inside of meeting. But they played that conservative style on consulate yesterday against C9, same on Oregon. They got a little more aggressive later on in Oregon, at least on their roam game. But early on, it was that very conservative play style where, you know, we're going to take a gunfight back and forth. We're not going to risk anything too significant. You saw Enemy at the bottom of the hatch try to get very aggressive, but he was the only one to really take a chance. He's the only one to take a shot from Rocket.
Well, it's a case where I think there were some good operator choices from EG that worked out. You had the Thatcher, which, I mean, it's not an unusual pick at all for that, but it definitely helped them get that the pantry wall open into meeting hall, which put a lot more additional pressure, forced them to rotate back into where the Glass was able to play on the bottom of those stairs, fully take advantage of that. But it was unfortunate for the Clash, because the Clash was in a position where it's like, oh, cool, Glass can't hit me. I'm in a good spot here to be able to stick this out through the smoke. But because BC was able to come around and get that kill, that ultimately put them in a tough spot. They did manage to trade back on the Glass, but too little too late at that point.
So we're back underway. Quick tech pause for Maka to regroup. EG as well, get to talk about whatever they wanted to work on and maybe improve on in that round. I mean, they did a wonderful job. They came away a significant man advantage throughout as soon as they started things off and really took their foot off the gas pedal, and that's actually going to scare Maka into going upstairs. They don't even want to go for the reattempt of the laundry and supply room site. They're going to head top to dorms. In Dorm's main hall. Well,
same lineup, it looks like, pretty much coming out from EG. I mean, it was an effective one, nothing wrong with that at all. It's good to see BC always going back to that buck now, you know, not trying to play. They were playing a lot of different roles for a while during the Pro League season, but it looks like they've kind of managed to go back to a lot of ones that they're pretty good at. Canadian's been very good on that Zofia as well, so I think that was a good choice. It'll be interesting to see, though, how things play out this round, as they are going to go upstairs. So that's going to change things a little bit in terms of how this attack actually plays out. But the operators that they brought are all very useful for that. In this case, they still have the Thatcher to be able to help them if they want to open up the wall in the master bedroom and try and pressure that way. They have the Glass to be able to pressure the windows. I think that overall, this is just a fine choice in terms of being able to attack that. And again, they're going to try the Clash, but this time they're going to bring a Pulse as well. But I imagine he's going to have to play a little bit downstairs, which could give him additional pressure he has to deal with. Speaking of pressure, there's Sir Boss taking a little bit of damage.
Firing through the front door, probably just trying to get it open, but Sir Boss taking a couple shots to the shoulder, and Hungry looking out the bottom white stairs window. It's BC, the Buck, playing outside of Bus. He's going to rotate away from the range of that slowing effect. Bonnet charges out on the showers wall to afford a peek into bathroom hallway. The EMP's getting rid of all that utility. 2 Bandit batteries and an ADS gone from inside of kitchen enemy. It looks like he wants to peel back a little bit more. So you got a lot of Nitro on the board as well. You've got the Bandit and the Pulse with Nitro cells. Looks like they want to play for maybe that retake or just hold kids for as long as possible and make that their corner piece of this hold. possibly sacrificing kids and then using the nitro cells and advanced intel later on.
Well, they're definitely holding kitchen a lot more than they were last round. That might pay off for them if the Pulse is going to be able to utilize that. But as that bandit drops, that means they're going to start to get control of that kitchen. They did have to trade one of their players for it, and they lost that Thatcher. He did a lot of work before that, though, so they should be okay. But Canadian at least picking up one more on that.
That was Revan pinned inside a bathroom. Serboss holding the long angle, and he's going to take down Canadian to level up man count now. The Clash of Hungary thinking about pressing down the white stairs. Lots of pre-fires, just some pot shots through the pantry wall and towards the rest of the push of EG. As they still complete this west-east, they do a good job of clearing out everyone below, and the last 3 defenders from Rocket evacuate back to site.
Well, it's unfortunate that they lost Canadian, as he was going to be an important part of this attack, especially putting pressure on that Clash, additionally with the stuns. But you see the pressure from below there. BC doing a good job opening up the floor, but it actually starts to get opened up against him as well. He's such a good buck player, though. I feel like he can work his way through this. No problem. He actually opens up a nice long angle to where people might be playing by the windows. In this case, though, not catching anyone means he's going to have to rethink his strategy. The fact that they're staying alive here on site, though, is definitely good. They've got the Clash, they've got the smoke still alive, and then they're going to have Sir Boss kind of playing a little bit more flexible, and he's doing that exactly that right now, taking advantage of their top floor control still to peek out the window, but no one's finding any picks, and things are stalling out in the last 30 seconds.
Stalling out indeed. Lots of shots from Young outside the big window. Panic's going to smoke it off. Still has plenty of smoke remaining. And Serboss has gone for a full rotate. Was playing inside of Attic and could have been the catalyst, but instead he's going to go for the flank down below. You still have BC as that buck playing the bottom of white, but a flank drone is going to call out Serboss, and he's still going to try and engage. 15 seconds ticking down as EG still stalling out. The smoke's dumped in the big window. Panic's going to drop Young. BC going to trade it out on Serboss as he goes for the rush up the white stairs. It's Glaz of Geo, and now Buck of BC stalled out, whips out the SMG, drops BC, and Mocket are going to win on time. They'll now be forced to either head back downstairs or somewhere odd, but a great hold there, at least stalling out Evil Geniuses on their attack.
That was a good demonstration of a good use of Clash in that case. I mean, he maybe didn't get a lot done necessarily holding the white stairs the whole time. He did stall them from being able to take it, but at the same time, it wasn't necessarily doing a ton because you didn't have anyone else playing a flank to be able to take advantage of it for a kill. Nonetheless, though, he got one of his own towards the end, and the fact that he was able to slow down exactly what they needed to be doing, perfectly played. Not to mention he read into a potential flank from the big window through that smoke. So overall, just a good execute towards the end there. It was unfortunate they had to lose so many people, you know, getting up to that point. But overall, I'm glad they're making use of the operator in this case. We're not seeing any Maverick, though, to try and counter this. Not necessarily important for a lot of this map, but something that is disappointing to see not coming out from EG.
Yeah, I think that Maverick could supply a lot of help, but I think EG are very confident and comfortable in the roles that they've taken. They've been rolling the same 5 operators every round so far. And the cohesion between them all, the utility, the ways they can interact with each other, it's clearly planned out. They always, they look like they always have a plan, and everyone's in a position to utilize utility at the same time, and they all have a specific role to play. So I think the Maverick, while it would be helpful to, I don't know, you could take out the Thatcher for the Maverick at that point, and then use the blowtorch on the pantry wall instead of just Thatchering out the bandit batteries.
Absolutely, yeah. Swap out the Thatcher at that point if you want. I mean, because most of the uses of Thatcher could also be replaced by Maverick, something that's been discussed quite a bit so far. But Maverick's also got a very nice gun, some good utility. To be fair, though, if you're very good on Thatcher already, which I'd say NVK is pretty good at, that gives you an opportunity to just play comfort. Now that the sight is a little bit better on the L85, you can frag a little bit better in that. But in this case, they're going to try the same defensive operators again. The thing is, this time they know how EG are going to attack this. So if they can make the adjustments, they might be able to hold this a bit longer. Last time, they got pressured very quickly downstairs, but they might be able to fight the angles better knowing how they're going to have to hold it. But in this case, EG also know how they hold it as well, and are going to be able to optimize that attack a little bit more. So this is going to come down to who can counter-strat this defense the best. In this case, I'd put my money on EG.
Biggest alteration is, I don't know who it is, it might actually be Panics on the smoke. And someone went to T3 on the defensive side for Maka.
Last time too, yeah.
Yeah, that was
T3 is an interesting choice. I mean, the Claymore a good counter to that if they try and jump out on you.
Revan already taking a little bit of damage. It was either through the drone hole or possibly a nade coming by. Not really sure how that happened either. Canadian still outside a big tower, and it looks like Hungary was starting out downstairs. Instead of rotating up the tower stairs, trying to come up main stairs into the fray of all the attackers collapsing upon him. It's a very sticky situation to be in. Drones being sent in. They both miss enemy in the bottom right-hand corner, playing right up against the meeting walls, but they do spot Panics, who was the smoke playing by Sandbags. Now they see the bandit move over. And a wasted set of Hibana pellets. Where's NVK with the EMP?
Yeah, that seemed like a little bit premature. Maybe he was hoping to try and catch one that he thought Bandit wasn't on over here. In this case, though, one wasted. It's not a big deal. They got the hatch open in the lobby. That's the important thing. And there's BC doing what BC does. Grenade kills coming out from his buck.
Canadians still holding the back tower stairs from outside, waiting for Hungry to rotate up, and Hungry being caught downstairs. If that wasn't the intention for Mocket, they're in a tough place because he's got nowhere to go to come back up and be an influential operator in this push. Another two-man advantage as NVK takes down Revan. That's the Legion as well. That was a big stall-out factor for Mocket the first time around attacking downstairs, as you saw Young get down by a Legion Mon on the stairs and constantly hitting those mines either below the hatch by the island or on the main stairs, just slowing down that push, and it came down to mere seconds. Revan's gone. It's another two-man advantage. It's going to be up to Hungry to kind of slow this down, and Panics in tandem with the smoke canisters.
Well, hopefully he can use that shield to protect the smoke throws, because you're going to see one coming out and doing a lot of damage to Geo.
Geo trying to tag Clash, but of course, indestructible shield. The plant being completed here by Young. That's going to get stuck, and it's still a 5v3 post plant. It's a good situation for EG to be in. Geo pretty low on health. The last smoke canister will be expended, and Panics will be downed and finished off by BC. Hungry trying to come in for the save with the shield, but it's not going to happen. Hungry whips out the machine pistol looking skyward at the hatch. Not finding any targets just yet. Sir Boss also trying to break out. The last two remaining defenders for Mocket trying to simultaneously push the same angle, and it's probably not going to go very well for them, except for the fact that Hungry has a massive deployable shield. Sir Boss going to grab two, but the trade-outs from above. Geo and BC in tandem drop Sir Boss and Hungry, the two new additions, and it's a 2-1 lead for Evil Geniuses.
Despite the way things have rolled down most of the round, it still pretty much ended the same way we saw it previously, where there's some comeback from Sir Boss, but then they just shut it down at the end. Seems like they just can't seem to get past that moment. It's the plant that they can't seem to deal with. Once that starts coming down, they seem to be in a tough spot. It's their inability to deny it. The fact that they're not able to run an Echo seems like that's a little bit of a problem. At least they had the smoke this time, and they did do quite a bit of damage to the glass at least, but they couldn't stop the plant, and that's really gonna continue to be a problem for them as they try it again. They are gonna at least bring the Maestro this time, potentially. So Maestro and a smoke might help because they will be able to see through that smoke. And maybe that's what they feel like they need is, oh, we need to be able to see through that smoke to counter it properly because we cannot do that with the glass there normally. I don't know if that's really, there we go. All right, this is a lot of denial. They're making the adjustments they need to deny as much as possible. Maybe not focus so much on the meeting hall, maybe focus on denying the plant once it gets down there.
It looks like that, and the same thing we saw yesterday on Oregon, but most specifically Consulate against Cloud9 from Mocket was their decision to play 4 on site and 1 on a roam. The 1-4, that has not come out for Mocket so far. They're playing a 3-2 or a 4-1 right now where they've got 3 or 4 roamers topside trying to hold meeting, putting a lot of utility and investment and time into that. And the biggest problem with that so far has been that they've lost 2 men early, tried to bail out, don't have the utility left on site to delay any longer than they possibly can. It's up to Panics with the smokes at that point because Hungary's too far away. Like the range on Clash is absurd, but it's not that absurd.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's really able to do a ton with it once they start to try and push down there. I mean, he could possibly block the hole in a way that Smoke could throw over top of it and give some additional coverage so Glass can't take the pick on that, which I think might have maybe helped that last round. But yeah, having 3 people that can help with the denial here will make this much more doable because let's say they lose one of them in the early defense. I mean, it was a little aggressive for Panics to be playing upstairs last time, but in this case, now maybe they can afford it because they still have the Echo if he's going to be playing down there along with the Maestro. That's 2 ACOGs and 3 armors that they can use to be able to help defend on those long angles. Obviously, still risky to peek at Glass in doing so, but maybe they can use a smoke damage alongside the Evil Eyes to be able to finish off the Glass potentially.
Well, it looks like Mocket have returned to their 1-4 favor. Enemy, the only one off site, playing up on the tower stairs midway between T2 and T1 landing. And it's a quick take of main lobby and a lot of map control established early for Evil Geniuses as there's no real opposition for them. Mocket playing very reserved, and we've seen this before. NVK, okay. He was going to place the Claymore at the connector window or highway window, whichever you decide to call it, but elects just outside of the attic wall. They're still going to breach open into meeting from the pantry walls to hold that rotate late round for a post plant. Enemy tried to avoid drones for as long as possible, and Geo not going to be lazy with the drone. He's going to spot enemy, and he's going to have to bail quickly. And they're going to have his rotate. Those holes in the meeting wall, yeah, this is not good for him. The back of stage wall's ripped open, and he's kind of got nowhere to go.
He just has to buy time at this point. Just stay alive as long as possible. Don't contest him. Because look at those crossfires. He cannot win these fights.
Meanwhile, the rest of VG very focused on the site push, and I mean, you've got all this time, you've got all this space, there's nothing really stopping you from doing so. The biggest thing you need to do now is burn out the utility, you need to bait out the Echo drones from coming in, take out the Evil Eyes, and make sure that Panix is wasting his smoke grenades, dumping them very early on. This seems like a very simple push here for EG. The only difference is it's a 5v5 instead of having that 5v3 now on the site execute. This could be an issue, and Sir Boss with the LMG of the Alda on Maestro, playing it behind with the frag grenade being dumped into the hallway, gonna detonate and take Hungry down to about half HP. Impact nades being flown in, and now one Echo drone sacrificed by enemy as he dumps it in, but Young is gonna get down and finished off by Panix's smoke. That's diffuser lost, MVK gonna trade out enemy. That's the Echo gone, that's huge for Plant Deny. Still up to Panix now, and really this mobile mirror. Revan on a flank is going to take down NVK, pushing out the back tower stairs. Shots back and forth between Sir Boss and Canadian, neither landing the finishing blow. They're going back and forth and running out of time. Sir Boss very low on HP. Revan has returned to site. Panix has the time now to stall out with 2 canisters. You still have Evil Eyes in place as well from Sir Boss, although he's very concentrated on trying to get these picks now. Canadian is down, is going to try and withstand, gets up and gets smacked back down. Immediately rushing in from behind, though, is Gio. He's last alive, the PMM in hand. Sir Boss gets down, so it's up to Hungry on very low HP. Panix 100, and he's going to take him down with a shotgun. It's a 2-2 ball game.
Well, that just goes to show you making the right adaptations make a huge difference. It was great the way they were able to stop that plancher. They did a lot of damage and then had to finish it off with the smoke, but there was such low health there on the plancher, and that was a much better defense. I like the way that they used the shield to be able to peek the hatch safely, as well as the bottom of the stairs. I mean, Sir Boss had some risky peeks there, and was definitely a tough spot to be on such low health, but he's a 3 armor. He can take quite a few of those shots, and played it very well in that case. Great adaptation. It was unfortunate they had to give up so much site control to be able to do that, because that meant extra time for EG to try and plant again and again. But the fact that they dropped the diffuser in a tough spot they had to cross in full view of the clash left them pretty much unable to pull it off. I mean, they even tried to withstand to be able to get it going, but no, there was just, you got the Echo, but you had the smoke left, you had the Maestro left, the clash was still standing there. They just could not get the picks early because no one was willing to give themselves up early. Well played by Mocket to finally take it and turn it back to 2-2, showing they've been able to defend both sites. They're going to try tower now. That should be interesting.
It's an odd one considering that top floor is now open to them.
Yeah, they were picking it originally.
Yeah.
I guess they decided they want to throw EG off.
I mean, it was demonstrated yesterday that in their game against Cloud9, the tower was their tertiary site. It was by no means their primary or secondary. However, I mean, it did successfully fool Cloud9 last time, but the biggest problem with the Cloud9 push against Mocket's tower hold was just they were so disjointed. Everyone was separated and trying to solo push through windows on tower. That's just never going to be good for you.
Yeah.
NVK swapping to Twitch and Geo swapping to Capitao. I like the utility alterations here for EG. This is almost identical. The only thing, we did see the Valkyrie yesterday on the tower hold. I don't think we saw the Echo yesterday on the tower hold, though. I think we had an Ella instead.
It's tricky because there's not a lot of good places to sit sometimes to be able to use that Echo drone. So, I mean, it's great utility because there's only a few things you have to deny. We've even seen some teams playing it on the windows. Might have even been Mocket, now that I think about it, that was able to do that. But the problem is if the Valkyrie was exposed during the picks, I don't remember if it was the 6th pick or not, that's a dead giveaway that they're going to be playing tower because of how essential it is to playing tower defense. So maybe that's why we saw some adjustments from EG on their operator picks as well.
This barbed wire, if they weren't already aware of the droning phase, is going to give it away for Canadian to call it out. And yeah, NVK going to be taking big window. No way he'd be so aggressively and so blatantly exposing himself if he thought that was the objective. So EG clearly on the same page, understanding where Mocket are. And the problem is going to be the push, because what always happens is the roam clear on a tower hold is usually successful 9 times out of 10. The problem is the conversion to the site execute, because you're pushing down narrow hallways. Whether you're going outside of highway window or pushing through attic, you need some company with some repels on the tower. It looks like Canadian's getting in position for that now.
I mean, a big part of it, of course, is that T3 take. Taking the top of that tower is a big important part. But one of the things that helps deny that is those Valkyrie Black Eyes outside, because people are going to have to repel to take that, and they have to repel for quite a long time, giving opportunity for runouts and peaks. But EG are going to know that. They're not going to fall victim to easy runouts. They're instead going to take this, take out Revan. Of course, that's going to give Revan the opportunity to watch his cameras, because he's not going to win this fight.
Down through the wall, they're not going to know it just yet, but Young will clean it up with a headshot onto Revan. So that's the roaming Valkyrie taken care of. The Valkyrie cams are still obviously in play. So it's not the end of the world for Mocket. They do lose a Nitro cell.
That's important.
Clearly, it looks like Revan was sent to just stall for as long as possible and use the Nitro in a last-ditch attempt to stay alive.
Minute and a half, not terrible. I mean, on a room that's very close to the outside window. But in this case, now Sir Boss needs to do a similar job in delaying here, because that window could be very useful for peeking out, and if they're able to open that, it makes it much harder to hold the rest of the site. But Panic staying up at the top here at T3 is definitely going to help as well. They have a good setup if they can just stay alive long enough to force EG into a desperate situation.
Similar to what we saw from Cloud9 in the attack yesterday, EG were pretty disjointed. They went for a full rotate, a little bit of team damage onto Canadian.
Whoops.
But NVK will be the one coming out on top as he takes down enemy. That was the flanking Echo in the basement. The one problem here is they haven't dealt with Panics. He's still in T3, up on the rafters. And Hungary playing right outside of stage door. He's going to be a nuisance. He's got Sir Boss to drop down Fnatic in tandem, so 35 seconds remaining. The pair is going to have to push through meeting while Panic tries to hold out for as much as possible. It doesn't look like EG are going to attempt to go for the T2 take. They want to push in T1 for the plant. The frag grenade landing at the feet of Hungary, not going to take him down too far. Still at about 60 HP. Young going to try and attempt the plant now. The jump out here from the Jaeger panics, and he doesn't walk into the Claymore just yet, but he's completely detected. Canadian's going to hit him through the window. Young finishes the plant, and it's up to the duo of Sir Boss and Hungary. Hungary falls. It's a 1v4. This is not enviable for Sir Boss, trying to battle out of a phone booth up against the stage wall. He's got one coming up from downstairs, one outside, and it will be Geo from outside the T1 stair entrance that drops Sir Boss. And EG are going to take the first half of map number 1, 3-2.
I like the idea what they're trying to do on defense there, but unfortunately just the sheer firepower from the outside. Once they're able to clear up the flanks that they were worried about, they got that the roaming Valkyrie and the roaming Echo. In that case, they were just much more secure, just basically using that as a shooting ducks in a barrel kind of thing, taking advantage of all the angles. And because of that, it was definitely a tough spot to be in. And we'll see that we are going to take a quick technical pause as we switch sides. Hopefully that will give Maka a chance to kind of recollect. But coming out of that on EG's map with 2 rounds on defense is not terrible. I think they did an okay job of it.
Yeah, I was impressed with Mocket's play, at least on the top floor bomb site and then on their last hold downstairs. I think the idea to anchor up and just bring all of that utility was a great call on their last attempt downstairs, just because clearly, like you said, there was nothing to stop the plant. It was Panics and Panics alone, and that was only on round number 3. Round number 1, when they went downstairs primarily, they had nothing. It was the Legion. So I'm pretty happy with what I've seen so far from both sides. I don't think one side is pretty much favored after that. It's a very even half, obviously being 3-2 out of 5. What I'm interested to see is how EG handles the defense, right? Because they've been a team that have been very mobile and capable of defending all 3 or possibly 4 sites on Oregon, should they so choose to, sorry. I know how to speak words. I get paid to do it. Yeah, that's me.
Good job.
Hey,
but,
for effort.
I don't know. This will be interesting to see how this goes around, because obviously this is still just the first map. Still plenty of time to feel things out, as obviously we get a minimum 2 maps, and this is EG's map pick, and they have a very good defense overall most of the time from what we've seen of EG on Oregon. But in this case, I feel like we could see some good adaptation from Mocket. They've got a chance to warm up a little bit in this match, and I think we've seen them make some adaptations mid-match, what you're talking about with Laundry, for example. Shows they're at least paying attention, maybe sometimes a little bit late, but they are trying to do what they can. They were relying a lot on that clash, though. Maybe we'll see Hungry end up in a situation where both an attacker and a defender are banned against him. He won't be able to play Ying or Clash in the future. But either way, it's a case where we are seeing some particular players like Sir Boss showing up pretty well. It's just a case where they're going to have to be very, very strategic on these attacks, because EG can just kind of pop out of nowhere, especially when Canadian's playing on something like Pulse and able to call out a lot of intel for his team. They just tend to just show up where you don't expect it because they know where you are first.
I think one of the biggest things was yesterday when Mocket were dealing with their attacking rounds on Oregon. The hardest thing to really compare it from then to now is the fact that Ying is now banned. Ying was open for Hungary, and he was just running roughshod with it yesterday. Today, that's not going to be an option.
Yeah.
And it looked like Hungary coming in, and it was noticeable on all 3 maps yesterday against Cloud9, Mocket as a whole seemed to have adopted what Hungary is teaching them, what Hungary is bringing to the table. Sir Boss is a great fragging power, but it's clearly Hungary driving the bus here. And without the Ying, I'm questioning what I'm going to see here from Mocket as far as their direction and pacing and aggression on attack. Because when you have that Ying, Parker and I noted it was a very all or nothing situation on attack, where it was, this is going to work or this is going to fail miserably. There was no backup plan. There was no plan B. And as our tech pause finishes up, Young is going to 6-pick off the Clash to the Maestro, and they will like to go top floor as their primary.
Good tease there, because you mentioned earlier Young was playing on that, and that is not something unsurprising at all, because he is such a good shield player regardless of what kind of shield that is. But in this case, yeah, that's a nice little sneaky switch. This is going to be up in dorms, though, so you can take advantage of some good Evil Eyes that can kind of cover some of the rooms that he doesn't have to watch manually now. But it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Canadian's Pulse does its usual bit of damage. He doesn't always stay alive the whole time, but he's good at playing very fluid across the map when it comes to gathering that intel. And I think if they've been paying attention to how he plays that, they might be able to try and shut him down or at least push him back a little bit. But that's going to be the real big problem here, is because between the Pulse and the Maestro, and even some of the Leisure Mines, they're going to have a lot of intel on the attack. So the attack is going to have to at least catch a few people off guard to be able to get some good progress and good map control.
Well, both of those Evil Eyes should be dispatched of quite easily. Oh no, he moved it. He didn't actually want to put it on the big window. So
that one's going to be harder for Hungry to kill.
Yes, but he's still got one in Closet, and I'm just noticing Sir Boss on the Ash, Hungry on Zofia, and Panics on Sledge. That's a lot of utility to freely take down an Evil Eye in Closet, where there's no one really going to be able to pressure them to be more wary. Typical West East clear, not surprised. It's Oregon.
Yeah. This is, I mean, it's what you need to do on this map. It's not like a preference even, really. You just need to take this kind of control, and it's the safest approach. You want to take, when it comes to attack routes, you want to take routes that you know that you can control once you take them, right? Because you don't want to take part of the map and then just lose it due to a flank. So this side of the map, of course, is one that is sectioned off vertically, so you can take control of it and then move on from here. The question is, will anyone give themselves up for early frags to take it? This kitchen is always a potential death trap for both the attacker and the defender. So if they can get away with a kill in the kitchen and then peel off, as you like to say, from there, that could be very good for EG.
The timing.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for Panics, as a defender playing inside a kitchen moved just in front of his purview of his peak hole as he looked away. And that's Rainbow6 Siege in a nutshell for you. Drone on the kids' windows, burning the ADS, and Hungry's going to peek this as the window's been open. The lineup isn't there anymore, as it was Young and BC both in a precarious position. They've backed off to safety behind that small, indestructible wall separating the doorway. Drone's finally going to get destroyed. Hungry's going to peek it once again. He's running the reflex, same as yesterday in Zofia. This is very indicative of what we saw yesterday against Cloud9 as well. Asphyxiating bolts coming out, and the concussion mines being sent deep in to try and just displace these angers, push them into the crossfires, because there's a lot set up for Mocket right now between windows, repels, and everything they can do to cut off a rotation for a defender being forced out of their anchor hold.
Well, we'll see. Now that they're switching up the diffuser, they're getting set up potentially for a plant. Usually you don't drop the diffuser unless you're getting closer and closer to an actual plant. The fact that they still have 5 alive, though, is good for Mocket. They have a lot of utility. Saw some good clear out. And there's a nice initial kill onto Jaeger of NVK, so that is one good fragger off the board. But there are a lot of people outside and not so much in the map right now.
Pulse, a Canadian being spotted out in T2. He gets pinged, but he backs off and holds his ground for now. Asphyxiating bolts and smoke bolts being sent in by the Capitao. Hungry going to try and stick the plant big window. Panic's going to drop Geo, so it's a 5v3 advantage for Mocket now. No one's even wary of the plant coming down. BC, as I say that, is going to kill Hungry just seconds late as the plant gets completed. No, it doesn't. Wow. Actually, I thought I heard the plant go down. A wonderful save there, and a jump in from White Stairs window, going to level man. Panic's going to drop BC and Canadian too with the SMG-11. It's all up to Young, but the diffuser has lost a big window. They're going to have to go for the rush. Recovered now by enemy. He's going to get cut down. Coming up White Stairs, another one for Young. It's down to the 1v1, and he's just going to save. He knows the diffuser's there, but the turn by Revan. Young will fall coming down White Stairs.
Such a good play by Young, but it wasn't enough. Just the lack of manpower at that point, unfortunately, just cost him. Young is such a good player in clutch situations like that, so it's not a surprise to see him play the way he did, but the fact that they lost so many people so rapidly on the actual push itself, I mean, a great move around by Canadian, who goes from the tower all the way over to the showers and bathrooms area, is able to play that well. But unfortunately, just getting spotted when he did, getting taken out, just cost them a lot of their manpower. And Young couldn't clean it up alone. So good play by Revan as well. They couldn't get the plant down, so just, I guess at that point, try and frag as best you can. And that is a good start on their first attack round there.
So coming down to the wire either way. Looked like it was going to go Mocket's way, then it looked like it was going to go EG's way, then it looked like it was going to go Mocket's way, and back again, good down fight. To the 1v1 final seconds, and Revan the hero. So we now head downstairs for Evil Geniuses, bringing the castle. So that says to me we're probably looking at a meeting hold, unless they've got some weird site castles they want to employ.
We used to see it all the time for defending from like construction rushes was a thing for a while, and then that just completely dropped off, and it became a meeting hall thing.
I mean, look at all the soft breach again on the side of Market.
Yeah.
It's just, there is no point in just leaving that open, exposed to the outside. It's a free castle barricade to be taken down.
Well, I'm interested to see how the NVK Vigil roam works. And then also Geo going to be the one taking up the pulse there. Canadian going to play a different intel operator. They're going to have a good amount of intel yet again. And that's going to help NVK be able to roam effectively if they can make the right calls for him. I think it could be pretty good. If they're able to catch him out early, though, I think that's going to stunt a lot of their ability to control the map, because they're going to kind of depend on him a little bit to be that flexible player. At least they have a BC on smoke here to be able to try and stall it as well. He's probably going to be one of the main site players for a while, because I feel like they're going to play a bit more support upstairs. But it's hard to say how they're actually going to work this. Could have Canadian just kind of hang out downstairs for a little bit first to make some call-outs.
Lots of info. You get the pulse on Geo instead of Canadian. That's a little bit of an interesting swap up, but Canadian taking the Valkyrie instead. Like I mentioned a couple times now, the soft breach on the side of Market is just immense. It's overwhelming. There's not a lot of destructible surfaces that will be safe on this map while Market rip through. Reinforced meeting hold here, but the castle barricades coming up a little bit later than I saw on prep, but they do make it in there into the double door, so Evil Genius can try and hold meeting hall for as long as possible. They look like they have 2 inside of meeting and 3 on site currently, which is an interesting setup.
Yeah, they're known to be a little bit late on getting that setup done, and unfortunately they weren't taking advantage of that on Maka, because they might have been able to actually get in fast and exploit that, as some other teams have done. But the fact that Sir Boss is able to get all the way down here uncontested means they're really not focused on holding the site at the moment. Just no one really trying to fight him, but either way, he's got to try and turn that into something. In the meantime, he's just going to be kind of holding this while the rest of his team does their work. He can take advantage of a little bit of a distraction at the moment, though, and maybe even push in more aggressively. They don't have the hatch open just yet, though, and that's something they need to work on with Thermite, of all things. So that means they need to hold the control of these stairs, hold as much of the lobby as possible, maybe even use that castle barricade to their advantage to get Thermite doing his thing without having to worry about a meeting hall peak. There it is.
Hatch going to get open now as we eclipse the midway point on the round. Sir Boss on these main stairs is a little bit of a worry for me, but nobody's really peeking into him. He's going to drone it out and establish that it looks like it's Canadian and BC on site, and you're spot on, Mocket leaving that castle barricade up on the double door, because why wouldn't you? They open up the pantry, rotate with a thermite charge, so it's a large hole to deal with. If you're trying to hold that, you probably want to hold it from deeper back inside of kitchen, just so you have that ACOG advantage as an attacker. Now Panic's going to be rushing into the laundry machine. There's a minute left, and they're going to start initiating the plan. The asphyxiating bolts come out. Enemy grabs 2 on NVK and Young as they try to rush out a meeting. It's not going to happen. The Nitro being launched out by Geo, and it's going to down the planter. Just barely. Panics will fall. Hungry, though, going to trade out BC. It's up to Geo and Canadian. Plant attempt once again, not even trying for the revive. They're just going to try and stick this and hold post plant in a 2v4. Canadian up above, able to take down Hungry. 2 on the pulse cardiac sensor for Geo. As he tries to rip out of the closet, he will fall, and Panic's cleaning up Canadian. EG collapsing on site, allowing too much real estate to the hands of Mocket with no pressure coming out of meeting.
Fantastic use of utility, though, in trying to deny and make it so they could get that plant down. It was actually surprising they were able to deny it, but that's just a case of it takes so long to get that plant down, and that's really what cost them. I think they had a great initial plant attempt, but the fact that they were able to stick it and get it down and get the kills that they needed, just great, as you said, real estate control, taking advantage of the castle barricade. I mean, obviously, NVK wasn't going to be very useful in meeting hall if he can't get out of there without going all the way around, and I think just good reads by Mocket. But I guess we're going to go for another pause, but this time a tactical pause voluntarily by Evil Geniuses, who are like, why did we lose that round?
Yeah, I think if you're EG, you definitely want to reset. You can kind of feel the game sort of slipping away from you. You know, it was 2-2, it was a close game, then it was 3-2, and you're heading into the second half with a lead. Now, I mean, you've dropped 2 straight, you're down 4-3, you're 2 rounds away from dropping map number 1, and I mean, that is... Oregon is your pick, first of all. Oregon is supposed to be the EG map as well. And I mean, Mocket have played the same playstyle they were playing yesterday. I haven't seen many changes on the attacking side from what they were rocking yesterday against Cloud9. I mean, this was all on tape for anyone to watch. And I don't know, it just looks like EG are a little underprepared. I mean, granted, they were probably focused on their Cloud9 match a little bit more than the hypothetical, if we lose, we're going to play Mocket.
Absolutely, yeah.
Unfortunate just situation for the bracket. Not really a lot of time to kind of go and VOD review in between games. However, I got to credit Map1. They are playing incredibly well, and they're sticking to their game plan even without the Ying. You know, like I said earlier, it was Hungary on the Ying driving the pace yesterday. They still have that same pace. They still have that same aggression. They're still exploiting the weaknesses of each hold. They're a very observant team from what I've seen so far. They're able to pick apart the small, little, minute details that teams make mistakes against them, and it's working out beautifully so far for them. They are 2 rounds away from closing out map number 1.
Well, I think it's interesting, too, given the fact that they have to deal with the language issue now that they brought Hungary on, who doesn't, I assume, speak French, so they're going to have to change up how they play and communicate, but they seem to be able to do that. I mean, you wouldn't see these good adaptations from them if they were not able to. We're seeing some good teamwork from them as well, and I think anyone who was worried about that being an issue, it doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, to be fair, this is in the losers bracket, so obviously they're not, playing super top tier, everything, but I think they're playing very well given some of the handicaps they might have going into this and how short of notice this was in terms of having to change up that language. Playing fantastically for that. We'll see, though, if the adaptations here can come out from Evil Geniuses. They're only down 1 round, but as you said, they are 2 rounds away from potentially losing this map, and that's a big deal, losing Oregon here for EG. I can imagine that tilt factor we were talking about earlier could be a big one again if they lose this map.
Absolutely. We'd be heading into Consulate, too, which we noted in pregame. That was a map they got wiped on by Cloud9 as the final map in the earlier best-of-3 for them off stream. That's a precarious situation because we talked about, if it gets to border, we're leading EG. It's got to get to border for it to lead EG. You got to win this map because unless you're going to put your backs against the wall, drop the first map and win the next 2, which is a rare case. I think the stat was that the team that won the first map won the series 27 out of 28 times at Paris.
I've heard that stat from VODs as well, and some of the a little while ago, and it seems to be that just if you win that first map, it tends to lead to, whether it's you win the second map or you win the third map, I don't know, it's something about that initial edge that you have, maybe just shows that you can warm up faster.
It's also just a safety thing.
Yeah,
you have a map, you go into map number 2 a little more relaxed, and you kind of just see what happens. I mean, nobody wants to go to a map 3. Nobody wants a game to go longer than it has to.
Very true. I mean, the audience might.
Very true. And it looked like Map1 were thinking about actually breaking down this castle barricade and extending in. Oh, Panix is going to get downed, and he's going to get finished off by NVK through the drone hole. Great pickup there. That's the sledge. That's 2 frag grenades and a lot of soft breach off the board at the hands of Map1. A wonderful pick there for MVK to start things off and kind of turn the momentum around.
At least he's doing something from that meeting hall now. That was something that he didn't seem to be able to do a lot from. They threw a flashbang out to be able to deny that this time. As they start to get things open, good use of one of those remote breaches there. Revan this time the one playing the stairs instead of Sir Boss, but they still have a lot of map control. They just don't know what to do about meeting hall this time.
Yeah, they're very fickle right now in their decision as to whether or not they want to open up this castle barricade and aggress towards EG or let them come to them again. It worked out pretty well the first time, and they were able to initiate a plant with still a minute remaining on the clock. We've just eclipsed that point now in round number 8, and we have not seen even an attempt at a plant or even try to bait out some utility. So Evil Geniuses with 45 left are looking very good.
I question these peaks here by Revan because he's such an important player later in the round. If he dies making some of those peaks, that's really going to cost this team a lot of pressure. You saw how useful he was in the last plant attempt. You should not be peaking. That is Sir Boss's job. If he dies, not a big deal. I mean, obviously a bummer, but he's an important attacker to be able to peak that. He's got the speed. Obviously, Capitao has the speed as well, but the gun power is much stronger than the para. You hear Capitao doing his job already, but opening that castle barricade from, it looked like an impact nade. Well played by NVK. That's the second of the round.
Flanking it through Kitchen, Young's gonna grab enemy, but Revan is gonna trade out MVK. It's all up to Revan now as he swipes through. He's able to claim Young in the process. Pistol in hand, 3 to find, they're all on site, there's no time. And Evil Geniuses, after their attack break, level things up, 4-4. We're gonna go the distance in regulation. We could even see overtime coming up as they solved their woes downstairs. They were almost maybe half a second away from winning topside as well in the defense. So this is by no means over for EG. Tie game, best of 2 rounds here in regulation, or we will head to overtime, which will be another best of 3.
I feel like losing Panix early on seemed to throw them off a bit because they felt like they had to deal with meeting hall a lot more than they did the previous round. In this case, it was like worrying about a drone hole is definitely a a weird thing to be stuck on at that point. In that case, they didn't open the castle barricade. I believe it was NVK that probably opened it with an impact data.
Impact, yeah.
Good timing on his part as well. Canadian actually going to sneak out a 6th pick here for their dorms play. Still feel like he was a bit more effective on the pulse sometimes, but in this case, again, going to go with the operator he was playing earlier, and they're not going to go with any pulse. Geo this time going to be on Legion. So we'll see how he does on that. And if this is going to work out, NVK is going to try that Vigil again on this bomb site now and see if he can be still a force to be reckoned with. Might hang out all the way down in basement just to kind of stay alive or play in meeting hall a little bit. Rotate back to site if needed. So it's going to be all about making sure they cordon off NVK or kill him so that he's not going to be a problem late game.
So, heading upstairs. Canadian and BC and NVK all headlining at 7 frags for Evil Geniuses. Nice balance there. Having the depth there is quite important, although Panic's 9 frags so far. He's having a fun time on the sledge, at least on the attacking side. On defense as well, I believe he was going back and forth between Jaeger and Smoke. That's what it was. Jaeger and Smoke. Panic's was juggling back and forth on the defensive side. So he's had a good game so far, and we're approaching the end of map number 1. Canadian gonna be playing T3 to start and spawn peek with an MPX at a massive range outside. Probably not going to do a lot of damage. You're gonna need a headshot to be successful.
Well, there is NVK playing down in that basement. And Canadian holding that tower actually will help him potentially rotate, but Geo already picking off Panics. Again, this is the second round now in a row where he has died early on. In this case, much earlier on. Nice peek there.
You gotta feel bad for Panics. That's consecutive rounds now where he's died pretty early on. A lot of pressure coming in, a flashbang and a drone consecutively from Sir Boss. As Canadian having some trouble finding the spot on the drone, but thankfully during the reload, Sir Boss isn't gonna press the issue as the rappel in would most likely be his demise. I think this is a great play here from Canadian because he's read into the fact that they've gone for those Windows repels on the attack's top side, and that's kind of been the detriment as well to EG and Cloud9 yesterday was everyone getting caught off in those crossfires. You don't see a whole lot of kids repel anymore. It comes out every once in a while when you can actually grab that tower control, but it was Canadian the first time around defending up here on the Pulse that went for the flank tower, but got spotted out. Now he's just announcing his presence. I am here, deal with me. I'm gonna waste your time.
Well, that's gonna force Hungary to have to play a different way, and that might just really make them have to adapt mid-round, which is, of course, that forces communication issues, which is a good way to exploit any what that they might have. Looks like they could be going master bedroom side. They do have a thermite to be able to open that. No Thatcher to be able to take out any kind of batteries if there were any, which there is not. So no big problems here, although they still want to take control below of School. In this case, though, NVK able to rotate over to Armory. If Sir Boss is not prepared for that, could get caught off guard by some shots from the top of those stairs from the Armory. So they are going to have to try and figure out whether he's up there or not. But in the meantime, at least Enemy able to open the wall here. With a minute left, that's not a bad start, but they are man down.
The biggest thing is I'm not sure they're aware. Okay, now they're going to be aware of NVK inside of Armory as he impacts the side of the master bedroom wall. He's again going to be a thorn in the side for Mocket as long as he doesn't over-peak here. He's going to continue to stall out. I imagine maybe Sir Boss will go underneath with an Ash charge and try and get him from below inside Garage. It's precisely where he'll head. Hungary stalled out here until they can deal with NVK inside of Armory, and just a one-man advantage looking up through the floor, but unable to find the shots onto NVK, still missing. Consecutively stunned and now rushing straight through. Young gonna take down Revan as he rips back to White Stairs, goes prone, sees the feet. Revan gonna take him down as 2-push Generator, and now MVK has been down and finished off, leveling up man count of the 3v3. Enemy gonna try and stick the plan in Generator with Hungary as the cover. A flank hold at the front door as well for no one to come up the master stairs. There's 2 flanks coming in. Hungary just barely able to wipe BC off the board. It's gonna be up to Canadian and Geo to retake onto site as the plan gets completed in Generator. The backup from Hungary. Canadian coming up the main stairs, avoiding that flank hold. Sir Boss ducks back into Armory, so good positioning here for Mocket to take this. They're gonna have to take either staircase. Pressing up White Stairs and over by Dorms. Now pressing the Generator. Canadian unable to find Enemy in the closet, and Enemy's gonna grab them both. Canadian Geo fall. EG with their backs against the wall, and Mocket pressing the advantage. 1 round away from winning map number 1.
Definitely looking dangerously close to overtime as well. The back and forth between these two teams seems to be, I mean, I would say they seem pretty equally matched on this map so far. because both of them are having a lot of mid-round tussles where it's not really dominated by either team. You saw that good back and forth. Some great plays by Hungry in terms of trying to control for that diffuser plant while his teammate planted. He had control of both the top of the stairs as well as the kid's door with those pre-fires. Of course, that's a very nice gun to be pre-firing with. Does a lot of good damage, and he doesn't necessarily have to land headshots initially, so not to mention a good amount of ammo in the magazine. So good plays by him. Is he going to stick that blitz this round, though? That is an interesting choice for what could be the final round here.
He's the only one to not lock in, and that's why he's going for the 6th pick. Will he go back to the Zofia? So we have 5 consecutive rounds of Maka taking the exact same
He just wanted to put some fear in them. I could be coming with that shield.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of Legion coming out from EG is just not smart to play the blitz.
Probably not. We'll see, though, if they're able to control Canadian a bit better this time. That seems to be a bit of a problem for them. But also, MVK, the way he held Armory, it didn't necessarily work forever, but it did slow them down a bit. And I like the way he used that angle, because the angle will just put pressure on the doorway, and that's where they're usually safe, is playing from that doorway. So good read on that. Unfortunately for him, though, the Armory is also a death trap because it boxes you in as well. So something that MVK is going to have to consider in the future. Between him and Canadian, though, they're going to be that flexible roam that's going to be all important in defending this. Maka, though, didn't seem to have too much trouble dealing with them last time, though, because they got very focused on what they were going to do.
10 seconds remaining.
It was interesting to see that that Canadian's denial of tower ultimately didn't stop the plan.
5 seconds to go.
Something I also would have liked to seen from NVK was instead of announcing his presence inside of Armory, because nobody on Maka had a clue he was in there until he impacted the master wall. If you play that a little bit slower and a little sneakier, you can come in for a perfect flank as the Thermite and Zofia of Enemy and Hungry pushed in through Generator. They tried to take Jenny control, and they actually got it pretty well by taking down, I believe it was Young on White Stairs. If MVK comes in for the flank from behind, I mean, it was a good stall out, I'll give him that much. Announcing his presence really took about 30 to a minute off the clock for Mocket, but if he was able to come in for the frags instead, it would have been a probably different story, and we're probably looking at a 5-4 advantage for Evil Geniuses.
Well, this time they're going for the same defense. They're having NVK downstairs again. They're having Canadian control the tower. And this time, Mocket just saying, like, we're not even going to bother with the tower take we tried to do last time because we know how to play this. We were successful last time. And uncontested Enemy just runs right up to open the wall. This is really good time management. Why is 2 whole minutes left with that wall open? Now, of course, EG are going to be prepared for this attack this time, but so far, not contesting it is working out for Mocket.
Surprised by the lack of an attic rotate as well, or just any attic presence to try and bottleneck that push in through Master. Like you said, uncontested, no one stopping him, no resistance. You can see Hungry as well press into the closet, drop Claymore right at the breach hole on Generator wall. This retake here from MVK and Canadian is going to have to be flawless.
Yeah.
And I mean, the flank hold, there's always been one outside a White Van front door, and coming up the White Stairs, I mean, you're cut off by too many angles being held by the attackers once they take sight. I'd really like to see the anchors here kind of step up, but at the same time, you don't want them getting too aggressive. It's match point. It's do or die here.
Yeah, an important thing as well is they took control of Armory this time, which means they can also take care of that L in the hallway, and that's able to fight Kid's doorway from 2 different angles, potentially, both Generator and this hallway, which Sir Boss is watching right now. That's going to deny a lot more potential retake. It's all about the White Stairs now for that retake, and of course, they're going to be watching that. They're even watching down the stairs, which could catch that rotate from Canadian.
So, Revan just watching his drone, waiting for that small tower flank. Concussion Mines a bunch inside of Generator, and now Sir Boss pressing into Kids. Self-stunned by his teammate, turns the corner, but it's BC winning out with the SMG-11. The plant being stuck now by Enemy, and he's going to complete that, but Gio's going to take down Hungry. Panic trades one out onto Gio. Enemy in the closet, same position as last time. Revan holding from the main window. It's in a 4v3, but there's the flank that they needed last time. Canadian drops Enemy. Revan has to go for a full rotate. There's no one in position that can stick the defuse right now. That's exactly what they'll do. And Young is looking to send us to overtime, but from below, Revan shooting the dead bodies instead of Young defusing. He's going to continue to stick it. EG are going to OT.
Wow, that was all down to just missing the shots, hitting dead bodies. Young just bravely sticking on it. That was unfortunate, just due to lack of, I mean, they got in, they got set up for that. Early, they planted, maybe even earlier than they were prepared for, because you saw 2 players having to rotate way faster than they would have had to expect, and that gave Young all the time he needed. I mean, I liked the idea of going below, though, and trying to kill the defuse, but it just did not work.
It's unfortunate they saw a dead body and lit that up instead of Young, who was a little further and up and to the left, but
I'm sure they wish they had some kind of grenade or something left to be able to do a bit more splash damage.
Just also the positioning, I mean, Revan, I understand, he's holding big window for the rotates on White Stairs. didn't really see, like, Panics was flank holding downstairs, but you don't want to leave enemy in the closet alone at that point. It's the same exact position, holding on the exact same angle as he was last time. That's an easy read for anyone on EG to take. And then there's no one in position to stop a defuse. Panics, I think, at that point has to drop a drone at the front door and get up the armory stairs. You got to hold that flank. You got to make sure that nobody's getting up there, but also nobody's in range to defuse.
Either way, though, I think that was very close for EG, though. I think that was still a good attack by Mach1. They took advantage of what EG gave them and played it very well. It's just they were unable to hold it as long as they would have liked. And like you said, people out of position really cost them. But that just comes down to good communication towards the end. I still think they were very, very close to still winning that round because Young was so exposed. It just came down to an unfortunate circumstance. And that just goes to show, again, how close this match is. But I do feel like there's a very good chance still that Mach1 could take this head. Even if they don't, the fact that they took EG to overtime on their map bodes well for Mach1 on map number 2.
10 seconds to go.
I think EG are finding their footing, and like we said a couple times now, EG, they find their footing later on. It takes them a minute. I think we've seen more of a back and forth than we're used to. I think Evil Geniuses have kind of conditioned us to think, okay, they're probably not going to look so hot in the first few rounds, but they'll figure it out and then they'll go on a run. That just has not happened. Mach1 has stayed with them every step of the way, and it's been an amazing match so far. It really is a shame that one of them have to lose this map. Consulate, I think, could be an entirely different story, though. I think Mach1 could run away with Consulate.
Definitely a possibility. We've seen some runaways, for example, when SK ran away with Consulate pretty well. So definitely some possibility there, but of course this map has to end first. Mach1 are definitely not going to be giving up this map if they can help it. That's going to be a big advantage, because if they go into Consulate with this map in their pocket, EG is going to really, really be struggling to make sure that they can stay on top of things. In this case, though, they're going to try and pressure tower a lot more than they had previously. Despite the fact that the bomb site is laundry, they really want control of the map this time. And I think that could pay off if they can pull it off. If not, they're going to burn up a lot of time, possibly some lives trying to do it. But it looks like a full construction take here, potentially, as they set up Panics inside blue. Nope, he's got to pick up the diffuser first, but looks like a rotate as they do get control to an extent of tower.
This is exactly what they went for the very first attacking round against Cloud9 yesterday. They wanted the tower control, they went for the construction push, and it was only the clash play of Laxing that slowed down everything for the push in. I don't see a clash on the board, so I'm very wary. Oh, Canadian playing in the bottom right-hand corner, or sorry, left-hand corner. Thought he was inside the T1
Yeah, the outlines
stage,
are misleading.
But he's on stage instead, inside of meeting. And
Oh,
the
no.
drone's going to fall through the hatch. They're not going to catch Canadian, or sorry, that's Young. It looked like a Valkyrie. A Young holding with the UMP, waiting for the tower door.
Don't blindly push it.
And Revan, oh, Young, he loses the engagement. What happens? He just misses the shots as Revan backs away against the brick wall to safety. Re-peaks on the pre-fire and wins it out. A man advantage now from Mach1. Time ticking away. Again, a deceptively fast round, but Mach1 are going to have to hurry.
Well, it's definitely, time management is a big problem, but at the same time, getting that kill in Young, getting tower control, getting control of Meaning Hall, that was what they had struggled with previously. They have it now, but at the same time, that gave a ton of time for EG to set up for this take. I mean, it was pretty transparent at that point that they wanted to push from the tower side, which means EG can set up to position that because they still have so many people left alive, and a lot of damage has been done to Mach1. You see both Capitao and Thermite very low on health. They need to do their jobs. That Black Eye not going to be hidden so well right there on the floor, but NVK very near to using it. Unfortunately, can't win his engagement either. Oh, there we go. He does.
Finally, MVK going to win it out. 25 seconds, and MVK is going to rotate down the main stairs. Two severely hurt attackers. Now Panic's going to take a little bit of damage, breathing in the toxic smoke. Launched in the box, concussion mines, and now the diffuser has been down. Enemy drops it. He's on the ground. There's no one going to be able to pick him up in time. They have to pick it and go. Revan gets down from behind as well. Canadian pushing hallway. Geo going to get traded out in the process and trying to rush in and plant inside the smoke is Hungry. He's going to have to back off. BC playing it safe. Downs him with a shotgun, and it is all over. EG push this to map point after having their backs up against the wall for 2 consecutive rounds.
Well, we'll see though if the table can flip here on the defensive round from Mach1. I liked the idea of what they were trying to do, but they took so long to do it. It gave plenty of opportunity for EG to be ready for it, although it was still a lot scrappier fight than you would have expected from that. Just a lot of angle play, a lot of utility and smoke, things like that. Capitao's bolts coming out. They just were trying to play it as much as possible with their utility, but in the meantime, they weren't able to take a lot of gunfights that they wanted to, and also a lot of people losing gunfights that probably shouldn't have. NVK I saw doing a good job in that garage. I thought for sure he was going to lose that gunfight in a similar way to Young, just because he gave the opportunity to re-peak it, but at least he was on top of his gunfights there.
So EG returned to the attack after 6 straight defenses. And Mocket are going to head downstairs with that same lineup with a slight alteration. No. Okay, that's new. The Valkyrie is new. It was a Jaeger previously. I was going to point out that it's, okay, no, we're going Pulse. No, we're going Valkyrie. No, we're going Pulse.
NBK making changes as well. Well, seemed like some indecision here because they're worried about this being the final round.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They want the advanced info. They want the Nitro. I guess Revan maybe wants to play on site instead of Laundry to get the calls, or I don't know what the game plan is. You don't typically see a Pulse rocked on Oregon basement hold.
Good to see pretty much everyone doing their job from both teams, though, in terms of frags. I mean, there's obviously some top players there, but overall, everyone seems to be holding their own. I wouldn't say there's anyone that's like really weakening either team. I mean, it was a bummer when we saw Panics lose a couple times early in the round, but overall, I think he's picked it back up, not too tilted out of it. Well, in this case, it could be the final round on this map. Either way, like I said, though, this is still very good for Mocket, even if they lose right now. I think they played a very good game on Oregon, on a map that is very strong for EG. And then they go into their own. We'll see, though, if Mocket have some good ideas on this defense. It's been a while since they run a defensive round, like you mentioned earlier. So they've had some time to think about it. Not a ton of pauses, though. I don't know if Mocket have used their tactical pause yet. I don't think so. I think it was other technical pause.
And an EG tag
break. So they could have used it right before this round to kind of rethink their stuff, but they must have some good ideas. Although you did see them with some indecision on that 6th pick.
Pre-firing through the tower window is going to land 1 shot onto Canadian, but enemy is going to back out as fast as humanly possible. He doesn't want to re-engage and lose the opportunity to be the plant tonight, because that's what won it out last time, defending on the last round. Mocket did defend downstairs. It was their great execution and the stacking of plant delay. They lost 1, which was the echo of enemy earlier on, which was a sacrifice, but they still had the stacking of the Maestro, Evil Eyes, Hungry being a nuisance, Panics with the smokes. It was just a domino effect at that point. Yeah,
it does seem like they have all that utility yet again that won that for them last time. They could absolutely capitalize, and Revan being able to call out a lot of intel means they're going to be able to stop a lot of push. Now, of course, Glaz is still in play, and that was a bit of a problem last time. If they can stop this Glaz and continue to deny the plant going down, like you see that aggressive clash play towards the stairs as well, if they could just stop Gio from getting some work done, it will definitely be a problem for him here. But no kills so far, though. Just like you mentioned earlier, a little bit of scratch of damage on Canadian. They are going to get the hatches open, though, and that is going to mean that the push can potentially happen soon. In this case, I imagine the push back from Mocket, at least with the clash, will happen.
Mocket's seeming a little fearful right now. They're stacking 5 on site on the basement, which is a risky play. I mean, yes, they have a lot of plant delay, but there's no pressure from above. All it takes is 1 flank drone in meeting or a flank hold specific person to do the job for you. And any kind of pressure from above or any kind of distraction, any flank, there's no opportunity for it. You're just going to have to be launching utility towards those main stairs to try and stop the planter. And when Gio has been pressing through as that Glaz through the smokes that he launches in, it has been a bad time for Mocket. The only saving grace for them has been the clash.
Well, the upside is with 5 people downstairs, you have someone to watch the backside. And that's the big concern, right? Is you don't want to flank from that backside. They have an Ash, which is typical to push from that backside, but they seem to be very focused instead. They are going to try and use the concussion there to try and bring down the shield, but it is not going to do a lot. They don't really have a follow-up for it. At least their boss can take a little bit of damage, though, and this is really slowing down the plant denial.
Hungry incredibly low on HP now, trying to utilize his mobile mirror, almost gets popped out by Canadian. The smoke gonna land on the clash, and Gio's gonna drop in right through the island. He's gonna remove Panics from play, sees the clash right up against him, and the Echo drone's up in meeting to try and pull that back in. Trying to go for the reverse knife is Gio, unable to land it, but the double C4 from Revan. Young and Gio will fall. Canadian trades it out. It's an even man count now. Until I say that, Revan drops Canadian. The Echo drone's disorienting, slowing down BC as he's trying to attempt to reclaim the diffuser and going for the plant. Grabs behind the laundry bin, but Revan with another one onto NVK. BC able to shotgun and down Hungry, but Revan with 4. Or 3, sorry. No, that was an ace, wasn't it? 2 with the C4 and then 3 with the UMP.
Well, way to show up, Revan.
Mocket extending this the absolute distance. Round number 13 on Oregon. And this is just map number 1.
This is certainly the last round of this map, though, thankfully. But this will be interesting because so far it's been pretty defensive favored, at least in the overtime. And now you've got EG back on defense, but they have to change bomb sites. So will they be able to defend dorms as well, which there's no reason not to go dorms here right now, of course. They're not going to go tower. Or
no, they haven't attempted anything else yet this game. They haven't even tried it. They don't really know what Mocket are going to bring against something else like that. Also, the amount of soft destruction that Mocket have just been bringing universally is going to be devastating. Something like a kitchen hold. You can rip up the floor from above and just displace every single anchor. Ooh, there's the swap up they
Spicy.
might have needed, which is Hungary heading to another shield operator in Montaigne.
He's just feeling so comfortable just standing there looking at people when they can't shoot him. In this case, Montaigne plays a little bit differently. You can hip fire, for example, if you drop part of your shield, which is something you cannot do with Clash. So there are some differences, although with how fast you can drop your shield with Clash, sometimes it feels like you can still pull it off. In this case, though, we'll see if he could be a big factor here. He at least knows how to stay alive. You don't see him over-pushing and getting himself killed a lot, which is good for a Monty player. You don't want them to be over-aggressive to get themselves in tough spots. But Dorms is a little bit tricky to make that Monty push. You have like a nice long hallway, for example, but that means that you're also bottlenecked through it to an extent.
And you're exposing yourself to a lot of utility being thrown at you, whether it's Legion mines or smoke canisters from BC, possibly a nitro cell on Young. Plenty of opportunities. I mean, if Canadian or Geo want to get spicy with it and launch some impact nades. I mean, 4 impact nades on a Montaigne should take them down to like, what, half if they hit directly?
The nice thing, I'm sorry, the interesting thing rather, is that Canadian's now taking up the Vigil instead of NVK. So he's going to have NVK instead on Jaeger, something he plays very, very well. And Canadian deciding to take that up as well. And he looks like he still wants to play this tower. That's just very important to him in terms of controlling that. But we haven't seen that really turn into wins or turn into kills. It seems to be more just turning into delays. And Mach can at least find out early enough to make the adjustments they need. So far right now, they don't seem to even care about it so much. But you mentioned earlier how important that is on this take. But they're not going to even bother with any kind of window swinging, of course, because Hungary is definitely not going to be on Montaigne.
No, the shield on his back would actually protect him from any peeks from Canadian, but it's a very not advisable idea to try and repel as a Montaigne, just stuck with a P9 or a revolver. Immediate break into Master for Sir Boss, removing the ACOG and swapping to a holographic on the R4C.
Very aggressive.
Very aggressive, and this is kind of what Mocket is looking like across the board. Very aggressive. They're going to Ash open Armory as well. They already know no one's inside. Small peek there from, I believe, BC is the smoke peeking out of the kid's door, but no aggression taken. Not going to be bucking below Generator. Is going to back, I believe, Young out, who might have been going for a bandit trick. A peek to the left side of the meeting door. It's going to down Panics, but the Montaigne of Hungary going to save him. Going for the body blocks, and now the Thermite of Enemy dropping down. MVK, though, sneaking into classrooms and drop Panics. Enemy very wary, as he already made it out to the kitchen hallway.
Well, that was definitely a close play. Almost saved his life completely, but in this case, losing that buck early is definitely going to be a problem. But if it gets traded back onto NVK, this still could work out. But that's a lot of damage onto Thermite, who needs to make sure to do his job upstairs. And I'm not sure he's opened that master bedroom wall just yet. He absolutely needs to do that. He is trying to at least do what he can to give that Monty some opportunities, but this is burning up a lot of time, this flank. That's expected by Revan here, taking longer than he wants, and that's leaving him forced to watch 2 angles without a Claymore on that window.
Ever wary, and there goes Geo on the peak, and he's going to drop Revan. A 2-man advantage for Evil Geniuses. There's 65 seconds ticking away. You still have Young inside of Generator, as the Thermite of Enemy still has not blown open the Generator wall. Hungary at 50 HP, also trying to press down the Armory hallway. Into Generator, makes it in, but has no support, so he's going to back out. Sir Boss drops Geo, and a crossfire from behind and in front. BC with the SMG-11 be the one to finally drop down Hungary. Sir Boss filling in at the big window, but now the attackers group up right outside of Dorm's window, spraying in towards the top of White Stairs, but all EG have to do now is hold.
It's definitely going to be a tough spot for them to push. They look like they've given up on the master push. In this case, there's another kill, all down to Sir Boss. This is going to be so tough, but he gets one.
And it's all over. Evil Geniuses survive after looking a little shaky there in the middle of Oregon. They're going to win map number 1, 7-6, going the distance. And we're going to head to map number 2, which is Consulate, a very shaky map apparently in recency for Evil Geniuses.
With how far that went, I almost felt like the match was over at that point. I felt like EG had won, just because they had to work so hard for it.
That was a long one. That was a lot of work. And 7-6. Going the distance. I mean, we saw the same thing coming out of Mocket versus C9 yesterday. Incredibly close games.
It's good to know that they don't give up, though. Mocket definitely will stick it to the end, even if they don't win.
I believe it was a 7-5 yesterday for Cloud9 on Oregon against Mocket. So you got a feel for Mocket as well, coming inches away, just a breath away from taking Oregon both times against both enemies, and just falling short. That's gotta hurt.
And I think Mocket's got to feel a little shafted, maybe in the sense that EG got defense first on the overtime. I mean, it wasn't completely defensive side of this map at all, but overtime definitely was. And in the case of EG getting it first gave them 2 opportunities. I mean, it meant they had to play 2 different bomb sites, but there are 2 good bomb sites on Oregon. So it was a slight advantage to EG, which they definitely capitalized on, but also some smart plays and some good flanks, especially catching the Monty out. And then getting that early pick you saw on the player inside the lobby, that Monty